concussion coming off that thing standing right here. Hey everybody, I got something pretty cool for you today. This is the Advanced Combat Optical Gun Sight, also known as the Trijicon ACOG. And this is going to be a quick little review with a couple tips, things that I've learned as I've used this awesome optic. Now, ACOGs have been around since the late 80s, and there's a great reason for that. These things are incredible, and I'm going to tell you why. My personal ACOG is the TA31 ECOS, or ECOS model. It's a 4x32, which is by far the most popular variant of ACOG. It also comes with the ARM's quick release mounts. It has a Dr. red dot. They often come with the RMR mounted on top. It is dual illuminated, which is an awesome feature. It's got fiber optic for the day and tritium for night. It also has backup iron sights. They're not wonderful, but they at least get the job done as a tertiary sight should you need it. And it comes in this bronzy FDE color, which I actually like quite a bit. On the front of this, I've installed a kill flash, and it's actually the military version with a built-in IR filter, and I kind of hate it. It really darkens your sight picture, and I rarely shoot with it on. Now, before I delve into the meat of this review, I want to share with you what I think is the very best technique for shooting with an RMR or a Doctor, whatever mini red dot you might have mounted on top of your ACOG. I think this is the best technique to use. Now, it kind of plays a little bit off of the bin and aiming concept. Now, I'll go more in depth with that concept in a future video, but for right now, just know that it involves using both eyes open with a strong emphasis placed on using your weak eye to help locate and track targets. Now, this is going to help you to transition most quickly and efficiently to your red dot optic and back to your magnified ACOG. Alright, now with these ACOGs, with the Dr. red sight on top, the normal school of thought, what I hear most guys talking about, what most guys say to do, is get down, hold on a sec. Get down behind your rifle here, and when you want to use the red dot, you're releasing your cheek weld and coming up. And that works, don't get me wrong, it's not like it takes a lot of time, but you are removing your cheek weld. And, you know, fractions of seconds add up to seconds. And so, what I found, and I originally heard this from one of the Leopold guys, was talking about using the hammer with the delta point on top. And what you do is rather than moving your cheek weld, you keep it locked and you rotate the gun about 45 degrees. And the red dot lines up perfectly with your off eye. It's a great system, actually works very well. ACOGs are relatively pricey, but it's for a good reason. They are extremely rugged, and that's not a cheap thing to manufacture. There's a reason the military has been using these things for years and years. They are virtually shockproof, they're waterproof, they're weatherproof, and you're honestly just as likely to break your rifle before you break your ACOG. When it comes to magnification, these come in 1.5 to 6 power. With a myriad of other options, you really can get an ACOG set up in any way that meets your needs. Because it was originally designed around the M16, most reticles are geared toward the 223 round or the 5.56, but there are options out there for you 308 guys. When it comes to illumination, there are quite a few different options. There's tritium, fiber optic, and even LED battery powered. I will note that the tritium isn't very visible at all until you're in very low light conditions, which is what it was designed for. Also, the fiber optic can be overwhelmingly bright on a sunny day. That's easily remedied with a cover or some tape put over a portion of the fiber optic to dim it to a desired intensity. The tritium's usually good for about 10 or 15 years, fiber optic indefinitely unless you break it, and then of course battery powered you're going to have to replace at regular intervals. The good news is Trijicon is awesome and they've got your back. If your fiber optic breaks, send it in. If your tritium wears out, send it in. They're going to take care of you. If you drop it off of a rocky cliff and smash the crap out of it, send it in, man. Trijicon really is great when it comes to customer service and taking care of those who have invested their hard-earned money into their product.
4 for 5.
One great feature on newer models of the ACOG is they come with toolless turret adjustment.
That's a great advantage over older models, especially if you share this optic with multiple rifles. It's very easy to quickly make those minute adjustments. The glass on an ACOG is crisp and clear. It might not be up to the standards of a high-end scope using apochromatic glass, but that's not really its purpose. For close quarters to mid-range combat, it is exceptional. The 4x32 ACOG is by far the most popular. I would say it's because Uncle Sam has put the money down to get it into the hands of our men in uniform. Now, there are good reasons why our military and other militaries around the world have overwhelmingly leaned toward this model. First of all, the 4x magnification is a decent compromise between the 1.5 and 6 power. It gives you adequate speeds in close quarters and is also decent at ranges of a couple hundred yards. The weight comes in at around 14 ounces, which is also right in the middle when you compare it to all the various ACOG models. The 32mm objective is better than most and helps to gather a lot of light and give you a clear sight picture. However, by far my favorite feature of the 4x32 ACOG is the field of view. It gives you nearly 37 feet at 100 yards. That means when you're looking through your scope, you're seeing a lot more around whatever it is you're shooting at. And that blows the other models of ACOG out of the water. Most of them are coming in at around 19 feet, up to maybe 30 feet if you're lucky. In fact, the only model that can even compete with it is 1.5 power, and that doesn't give you nearly the same capabilities at range. Now, the 4x32 isn't without its drawbacks. For one, it does have a slightly smaller exit pupil than some of the other models in its category. Not the end of the world, but you are going to have to make sure that you're a little more careful with your cheek weld. Make sure you're lined up right behind your optic because you don't have as much room for error. Man, by far the worst thing about the 4x32 is the eye relief. You're basically going to have to put your nose on the charging handle to get that full sight picture. You're also probably cranking your neck forward. You're going to collapse your stock all the way. And overall, it just doesn't make for the most comfortable shooting experience. That is something you can get used to. I did notice over time it didn't bother me as much, but I still prefer more eye relief. Some of the other models, such as the TA11 with 2.5 inches at 3.5 power, might be a better option for you if that's something you're worried about. If possible, get out and shoot a few different models, but if you're still having trouble deciding which model to get, ultimately when it comes to an ACOG, you can't go wrong. The ACOG is easily one of the best optics on the market. It has an impeccable track record, it's battle proven, it's withstood the test of time, and I believe it's going to continue to do so for many, many years.
Yep.